Hello everybody, hope you're having a wonderful 4th of July as we celebrate this god-awfully hot day. I apologize in advance for my sweaty arms. It is over 100 degrees outside right now. I've got my AC on inside the house and I'm still just drenched. So that aside, what I wanted to do today was talk about an impromptu toy haul in which I picked up some good deals on G1 stuff, and it got me to thinking about some of the things that I encounter on Facebook groups from time to time, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit before I really get into the toys. So if you don't want to hear about my rant, feel free to skip ahead to where I unpackage these and take a look at them. But before I get to that, I want to talk about pricing and the marketplace and things like that. One of the problems that I've ran into more recently is you see a lot of things. eBay is the worst. You get these things that people put on eBay at these ridiculous asking prices. So, you might have a mint in box G1 figure that it's not graded, and it may not even be original. It may be a knockoff or a reissue. You don't really know, but they want, $1,500 for it. Or you see complete G1 toys where they have an asking price, a starting bid of $50 plus buy it now for $200. These are not the market value for these toys. And if you look closely at those auctions, you can see that a lot of them have been relisted several times at that price. They're not selling. No one's buying. And if you go look into the sold auction items, which is something that for some reason not a lot of people know to do, you just scroll down and click on the sold listings and it'll show you what the actual market value tends to gravitate towards. And even then, depending on what week or what month it was sold, you're going to find that those still vary anywhere from $20 to $70, just depending on who bought it, who sold it, where it was shipped, how much was shipping, and so on. So one of the more frustrating things that I've encountered lately is joining the Facebook groups that have a lot of buy, sell, trade elements. You get into those and you see people, and a lot of times these people will come to the group and they'll post this picture of just a box of toys, oftentimes something that they just got in a lot from something else. They picked it up at a yard sale, they bought something on eBay, and these just kind of came with it, and they wanted to unload them, get rid of them, or whatever. But then you look at them and they're often incomplete, they're very worn, very much not anything really display worthy. Oftentimes they're as good as they can get for perhaps restoration purposes and things like that. And you get caught in this scenario where they'll ask how much they're worth. People will point out, oh, it's worth this, it's worth this. Then they'll kind of do the, oh, well, make me an offer, So I'll go in there and I'll make them an offer. If I see something that is legitimately a junker, I'm going to offer them a junker price. And 9 times out of 10, they're either going to just ignore me completely, or they'll respond to me and say, oh, well, I'll get back to you. And then they never do. And then when I try to, I'll message them again and say, hey, any word on, any decision on that? And they'll just ignore me still. But yet I'll see them still continuing to post these items in other groups. Now, eventually, they are going to sell it. But don't be a sucker. Don't pay $20 or $30 for some junked out G1 toy just because it's a G1 toy. That doesn't mean anything. It just means that they made a sale off something that they probably got practically out of a garbage can, and you jumped on something that you want so badly that you can't be patient about it. But you can get things for a better deal, and that's just how it is. And you have to make the smart choices. And I could probably take this one. Okay, let's get into the toys and we'll get into that. So this Skywarp is an original G1 Skywarp. It's not a reissue. It looks to be a pre-rub. I haven't opened it yet, but if you look right here, look at that, $35. My hand in the wrong place. $35, and the company, when I say company, the store that I bought this from, it's a local store. It's called The Great Escape. They've been in business for 40, 50 years here in Louisville. They've got locations out in different parts of the state, different parts of the region. There's one near Nashville, there's one in Owensboro, I think, and there's one in Bowling Green. So these stores They're very down to earth, they're very reliable, and they don't buy toys for bottom dollar from people desperate to sell them and then turn around and sell them for scalper prices. They make legitimate ratings on these toys and sell them for reasonable prices. So I got this today. The reason why I went in there is because it's the 4th of July and they were running a sale that's 20% off. So when I saw this up there for $35, I thought, well, even if it is a reissue or a KO, that's still worth it. 35 bucks minus the 20%, you know, it comes out after tax to be just around 29 something. So the only thing that's wrong with it is that it's got this little tiny nub of the missile that's broken off. But they're very honest about what they sell and the condition it's in. So what else I saw that day, or today, was this little Frenzy or Rumble, depending on what's your preference. They named him Frenzy, so that's what I call him when I asked for him. $12 for a complete Frenzy. And he's in really good shape just by looking at him in the package that they've set up here. They also had a Rat Bat for also $12. But I didn't get that because he wasn't complete and his little ears were missing. And maybe even then, $12 was probably a good deal. And then I saw this G1 Hotrod sitting up there and I thought, oh, G1 Hotrod, 20 bucks. You can't beat that. And then I saw, oh, okay. Again, they're very honest about it. So they said it's a reissue and he's missing one gun. And I still said, 20 bucks, you can't beat that. So online shopping, trying to get things, it's almost just a pointless endeavor now. You're not going to get any reasonable deals unless you're shopping locally, be it at flea markets or secondhand stores, and not the ones that try to scalp their product. Because this is something that I want to get out there to the stores. So you buy something for $5, whatever your margin is. It's like, you know, you give 35% of what the market value is. And then you see it with the asking price on eBay for $50 and think, oh, well, I'm going to sell that for $55. I'll make $50 profit. But what you'll really end up doing is buying something for $5, letting it sit in your store for 3 more years collecting dust because no one's going to pay that. And then you just have a bunch of stock and a bunch of space that you can't use anymore. Whereas you take what the Great Escape does, they buy something presumably at a reasonable price, and then they put it up on their wall to sell it, and it's gone like that. They sell very quickly. They move through their stock. So if they bought it for $5 and they sell it for $30, they're still making profit, but they're selling it and they're making room for more product that they get. That's how you run a business. That's how you keep it in business for the past 50 years or however long they've been around. So kudos to the Great Escape. I told them I'd give them a shout out. They're here in Louisville. You know, there's going to be cases too where I could probably, you know, scalpers could probably themselves go in there. I'm sure if this is legit what it is, I think it's a pre-rub, possibly part of the Diaclone leftover stock. If I paid 30 bucks for it, I probably could take it to eBay and sell it for 80 bucks. I'm not going to do that. This is for my collection. I'm building up from G1. I'm trying to get a duplicate of every figure. And I don't care if it's a knockoff. I don't care if it's a reissue. I just want physical representations of the figures to be on my display shelf. But I want one of each mode that they have. So this is my first Skywarp. And now, if I get a secondary Skywarp, since this one's complete and has everything, he'll probably end up in robot mode. And I get another one, he'll end up in vehicle mode, and that's how he'll be displayed. Same thing with Hotrod here. I have the original G1 Hotrod complete. This one gives me that gun. I'll display this one in his auto mode, and then have the other one displayed side by side. Same with Frenzy. Now, I try to not buy the doubles until I fill in the empty slots, but under $60, I got all this today on the 4th of July, and you can't beat that. So I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to open this Skywarp just to see what all we have here. So let me get into here. I love the way they vacuum pack these too. They're not just in a Ziploc bag hanging or thrown in a box. Like, these are very well presented. They're hanging on their wall as soon as you walk in the door. They have all kinds of generational stuff there. I didn't buy it, but a couple weeks ago I was in there and they had one of the Transformer Collector Clubs, the white Runamuck or Runabout. I forget which one they named it or renamed it or what have you. It was $20. I mean, it was a $60 club top item. Someone bought it pretty quickly. I could have bought it that day, but I did not. So here are his fists. They're the, let me get these off they've got them taped on here. These are the original tab on one side fists. So I'm going to set those back here. These are the missiles, the laser cannon. As you can see on this, this is where the little nub is broke. I don't know if that's going to... Yeah. All it really is the part that locks into the missile launcher. And this can either be just, you can find a missile, the laser missile on eBay. You could use some epoxy and build onto this and just kind of repair it and paint it, or you could just cast this whole other missile and paint that and use that. But I'll leave this as is for now because this is, again, is a pretty good shape. Now, looking at the wings, there was the gentleman who's also my friend from Captured Prey. You can find them online. They're an online store that deals in a lot of Transformers stuff. Was telling me about the difference if whether this had the correct wings or not. And the newer models had the hollowed out portion of these wings. Whereas you can see these are the solid lined version. So there's no hollow channel in there, which means it is truly a part of this original design. So I think this is probably one of the runs that came out with when Transformers first arrived in the United States. They took a lot of the Takara only stamped figures that were from Diaclone, just ported them over into the Transformers stock until those ran out, and then they did some engineering modifications on them. So this, for $30, is, in my mind, an amazing find. And they may not always know what they have over there. They're not the biggest Transformers fans, but I think, you know, if they get a fair deal and I get a fair deal, then I think that's a good way to run a business. So I'll set him here for now. Actually, I'll move him way to the back. And then, of course, it came with the booklet, which I hope that's not taped. It kind of is. Let me get that off there. Okay. So, yeah, the original booklet. I wasn't even expecting that. And the card with his bio and so forth. So I'm very pleased with this deal, and I'm happy to have a Skywarp in my collection once again. You know, the same thing goes for old Frenzy here, or Rumble. As a matter of fact, why don't you go down to the comments and put what you think it should be? Rumble is red, Frenzy is blue, or Frenzy is red and Rumble is blue. What do you prefer? Now, I can tell he's a little loose, but those weapons are very well chromed. Very happy with that. There's no chrome rub on his chest. And I'm going to check the copyright just to make sure that he's not... Well, he's got the rub sign. Let's see if we can find out. Takara, Japan. He's got the original marking on him. I don't know that I can... This camera's not the most ideal camera, but it's what I have to work with. I don't think that's going to focus the way I want it to. But it has the original Takara, Japan stamp on it. I don't see a Hasbro stamp. And so, you know, it could have came from the same stock as that Skywarp. I'm happy. I'm happy with it. Let's see, he's the, well, he's got plastic feet, so he may not be one of the early originals. But again, I don't care. 12 bucks. That's practically 1985 retail. And then, of course, Hotrod is the same packaging, or however they do it. He has a hole in there. Get him out. Oddly enough, he has the metal feed, so I'm not sure how the reissues treated that. but here he is. Again, he's in really good shape, very clean, which does probably denote him as a reissue. He's missing one of his leg stickers. I might have to track one of those down, but everything else looks intact. So there you have it. My little 4th of July impromptu toy haul that I didn't really expect to buy very many things. I usually maybe go in there with like 10, 15 bucks in my pocket, decide what I'm going to do from there. But you can't go wrong. But be wary when you're out looking for sales, when you're out trying to find good deals, because you want to be fair to the seller, but don't let yourself get ripped off because you just think that that's how much you have to pay. The market is what it is, and you're going to find deals. Check your local shops, your not necessarily pawn shops, but your locally run comic shops. When you have conventions out on the toy floor, you're going to find tons of deals that you're never going to find online. I've seen countless videos of people who just came back with a box of stuff that they hardly paid anything for. And I don't normally talk about what I pay for individual toys. And I even normally, when I do toy hauls, it's kind of the backwards way. I'll go do the tour of the store and look at the toy hunt side. I don't always get into the details of the things that I get, but this seems to be something that people were curious about, so I went ahead and did that. So yeah, there you go. Get out there, have a happy holiday, and I'll see you next time.